Live with CDP, a weekly sports and entertainment podcast live on YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and on audio via Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, and Anchor FM. Now here's your host, Chris Palme.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Live with CDP podcast, season 3, episode 24. And I'm looking forward to my guest tonight, Manny Paiva. This is his second time coming on my podcast, and he's the communications officer for the Gordie Howe International Bridge going up right now between Windsor and Detroit border. And he's also a longtime OHL broadcaster and currently with the Windsor Spitfires, along with Steve Bell on CKLW 800 in Windsor. So I'm looking forward to speaking to Manny tonight about the Ontario Hockey League and the red hot Windsor Spitfires, who have won 10 games in a row and have kind of distanced themselves from Flint in London in the Western Conference. And it looks like it could be if things go according to plan in the playoffs, which they don't always, it could be a Windsor-Hamilton OHL final. But we'll see about that. Anyways, guys, just bear with me, and I'm going to bring on Manny, and we'll talk some Windsor Spitfire hockey and the couple matchups against the Guelph Storm tomorrow night in Windsor, and then Friday night at the Sleeman Center. 1 second, guys. I'm going to bring on Manny Paiva. Good evening, Manny. How you doing?
I'm good, Chris. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. How was your day?
Busy day today, but always a busy day down here in Windsor. So
definitely. So are you going to be doing the game with Steve tomorrow night at the WFC Center?
Yes. Bella and I will be doing the home game when checking out your Guelph Storm as they compete for playoff positioning in the Western Conference. And Windsor will look to extend their home winning streak to 14 games against the Storm on Thursday night.
Wow, 14. And right now, the Storm only have one goalie right now, Owen Bennett. Jacob Oster got hurt in a game last week, and they're being on the safe side. I don't know if he has a possible concussion or not. So they're taking him, they're giving him another 3 games off. And their other goalie, Dixon Grimes, is with the Junior B team right now in the playoffs. So right now, the Storm, as of now, I haven't heard from Tony Sexton, don't have a backup goalie. So maybe they can bring in David Ayers or somebody like myself. I'm just kidding.
Ride the bus, Chris. Let's see you park yourself on the end of the bench there Thursday night.
Yeah, I haven't played goalie in 30 years, so I might be a little rusty and out of shape.
You might be a little bit of an overager, too much of an overager for the OHL.
That's true too. So it's going to be interesting. The Storm kind of righted the ship this weekend with 3 big wins against Owen Sound, Flint, and Saginaw. So right now they're kind of on a hot streak, but we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to the matchup with Windsor Thursday night, and then Friday night I'll be doing the game with the Sleeman Center. So,
yeah, I think Guelph is looking to solidify its position in the Western Conference. You know, you talked about the 3 wins that they have now won in a row, and they're 6 points behind the Sioux for 4th in home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs. Everyone loves to get home ice, but Guelph's got to be careful. They're only 1 point ahead of Owen Sound. The attack breathing down their necks, so their victories over Owen Sound were huge. Windsor, on the other hand, as I mentioned, they've won 13 in a row on home ice, looking to extend that to 14 against Guelph on Thursday. They've won 10 in a row overall, and they have solidified themselves in top spot in the Western Conference, 8 points ahead of the London Knights. And home ice advantage would be huge for Windsor throughout the playoffs because, as I mentioned, they've only lost 1 game on home ice in regulation since the beginning of December. Wow. So it's pretty significant if they can get home ice advantage.
Wow. And the Spitfires started out okay, but it seems like since the new year, they've been on fire like the last couple of months. They've really gelled together. They're getting good goaltending. They're a solid team, and they got the big 3, of course.
Yeah, I think what it happened was it took some time for this team to gel. Remember, there is a new head coach on the bench for the Windsor Spitfires by the name of Mark Savard, an OHL and NHL champion. He won a cup with the Boston Bruins. So to put his fingerprint on this team. It took him a little bit of some time, a little bit while. If you look at the special teams, for example, back in October and the beginning of November, it wasn't great. Now the special teams, both the power play and the penalty kill units, are doing a fantastic job. With associate coach Jared Smith and assistant coach Andy Delmore, the coaching staff has done a wonderful job with this organization and the players on the ice. I have to give credit to general manager Bill Bowler, who has acquired some big pieces throughout the year. They acquired Nathan Rebo back in November. He's been a big, steady defenseman on the blue line. They've acquired players like Jacob Millette from the Guelph Storm, who's been an unsung hero centering the third line for the Windsor Spitfires. Alex Christopoulos they got from North Bay as well. Josh Curry from North Bay. Andrew Parrott from the Owen Sound Attack has been a huge addition on the blue line. And then they've acquired a goaltender just before the deadline from London, Matt Onishka, who has really taken over the number one role in goal for this Windsor Spitfires team. And you mentioned the big three. Wyatt Johnston leading the league in points, 119 points in 63 games. Remarkable. Will Cooley, 41 goals, 77 points. A New York Rangers draft pick, drafted in the second round by the Rangers. He's been fantastic. And Matthew Maggio, 38 goals, 79 points. A local boy from Tecumseh. He's having a tremendous season, 2 goals away from 40. If he can pop 40, Windsor would have 3 40-goal scorers for the first time since the mid-'80s.
Wow.
It'd be remarkable.
Well, I think you brought that up the other day on Twitter or something. One of the guys was Kelly Kane, I think.
Kelly Kane, yes, former London Knight, former Windsor Spitfire.
Did he ever play for the Guelph Platers too briefly?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I might be somebody else I got him mixed up with. I know with the Guelph Platers back in the 80s, long time ago.
My memory's not as good as it once was, so maybe he did play with Guelph, but I don't think he did.
Okay, I'm going to look that up after anyways. But yeah, I was going to ask you about the thoughts on the big three, on all three of them. Now, in all the time have you been doing OHL games, Manny? Is this maybe the best 3 players you've seen together?
In the same season, I would say yes. I would say yes. I don't think I've seen 3 players together perform at this level. If I think back to my London days when I was calling London Knights, they're Jason Allison and Nick Stadjtahar. Allison at forward, Stadjtahar on the blue line. They both represented Canada at the World Juniors, but again, forward defensemen. If I think about my time in Owen Sound, they've had some tremendous players, from Dan Snyder and Adam Mayer, to Wes Goldie, to Bobby Ryan, to Brad Richardson, to Joey Hishin, to Garrett Wilson, to Andrew Shaw, to Nick Suzuki. But 3 guys in the same season who are on the cusp of scoring 40 goals. Cooley and Johnston have already done that. I've never seen such a trio produce at the pace that they're doing for the Windsor Spitfires.
Well, it should be an interesting matchup with Guelph the next 2 games, and Guelph's got one of the good lines. Ben McFarlane and Cooper Walker. They're not the most talented guys, Manny, but they work hard, and that's the one thing under George Burnett. The Storm team, for the most part, they do work hard most of the time. So I'm expecting it to be a good competitive game tomorrow night, hopefully, and hopefully we can get a point in Windsor and get one in Friday. But we'll see what happens. But like I said, I'm just looking forward to these matchups, and like I said, the playoffs will be starting in another 2 weeks, another week or a week and a half.
April 21st, I believe, is when the playoffs begin. So circle that date on your calendars, fans. It should be a great time. You know, I don't expect Windsor will win every single game the rest of the way in the regular season, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think if they falter a little bit here and there, that's fine. It means they're human, and it means that it shows them that they have to perform on every single night to try to get the victory, especially come playoff time.
I was going to say, overall thoughts of the coaching staff job so far this year with Mark Savard and all of them.
Yeah, I think they're fantastic. Mark Savard is obviously a very smart hockey man, a very skilled man as well. If you remember him back in his day, he was
Mhm.
fantastic. Um, and I think one thing that he has allowed this team to do is to be creative. And we see that offensively, and we see that in the production. They lead the league in goals for. They've been fantastic that way. Um, I think Jared Smith has brought some stability to the organization, and has always been um, a familiar face in the room because he's the only returning man on the bench for the Windsor Spitfires after Trevor Litowski went to Montreal and Mike Weber joined the Buffalo Sabres system. So Jared Smith brings a sense of stability. He's also now helping on the player personnel. He's director of player personnel as well. So he gets promoted that way. Andy Delmore, a former NHLer, a former OHLer, who knows the game very, very well. He deserves a ton of credit, especially working with that blue line. And they've really cut down over the last couple of weeks. They've really cut down on opponents' shots to help keep scores down, to help support their goaltenders. And then the goaltending looks fantastic. Michael Layton was hired as a goaltending coach midway through the season. I think he's done a marvelous job with Matt Onishka, especially, and Xavier Medina, who's come back after spending some time away from the team. Michael Layton deserves a ton of credit for the work he's done with the goaltenders. And as I mentioned, GM Bill Bowler has done a fantastic job too.
Who do you think will be starting in net tomorrow night for the Spitfires? And do you think they'll go with rotate goalies Thursday and Friday night, or they're going to go with one guy for those two games?
No, I think they'll split the duties. I think it'll be Anishka on Thursday and Medina on Friday. You know, I'm not in the coach's head, so I don't know for sure. But that's if I was a betting man, that's what I would do.
I was gonna say that trade with the London Knights with Onishka, that was to me kind of a steal because he's a solid goalie and he's now getting an opportunity to play in Windsor.
Yeah, good kid, 6'2", 180 pounds, from Waterloo, so not far from Guelph. I just didn't get a lot of time in London.
Yeah.
And now that he's playing a lot more, his game has grown and his confidence is growing as well. He's been a welcome addition to the Windsor Spitfires.
Okay. I had to ask you this question before we get on to some more. Thoughts on former Guelph Storm player Jacob Millette since arriving in Windsor? I look at his stats, and his stats are pretty solid, and he seems to be contributing with the Spitfires.
Yeah, he's centering the third line right now for the Windsor Spitfires and doing a fantastic job. I think when he first arrived on the team, he was centering the second, third line, finding his spot. But one thing that really stood out for me was that he is a strong penalty killer, strong in the faceoffs, and really responsible in his own end. He's still doing that, but now he's producing offensively. 41 games in Windsor, 7 goals, 21 points, and that's while centering the third line on this Windsor team. He's been a welcome addition. He obviously just needed a fresh start, a new place, and he's been fantastic.
Yeah, I liked him doing the camera work for Rogers TV. I'm around the players, and he would always bug me about the Philadelphia Eagles and stuff like that. So I was so happy that they traded him to Windsor, and he's getting an opportunity. And sometimes that's what these kids need is a fresh start and a new opportunity to develop their skills.
And there's not a lot of pressure on him too, right? Like he's not centering the number one line. He goes out. He's great on the faceoffs. He does a really good job centering that third line and provides some quality depth for this Windsor team.
And that's what you need in the playoffs, especially is depth.
Yes.
Definitely. Okay. My next question I wanted to ask you, Manny, what has impressed you the most about the Spitfires' current 10-game winning streak? What has stood out in this 10-game winning streak the most?
Well, I think it's the fact that they've dealt with adversity all along the way, and some of the games they've won different ways. If I think about a couple of weeks ago, Windsor was playing in shootouts. Like some of the games were outrageous. They beat Saginaw 8-5. They beat Kitchener 7-5. They scored a lot of goals, but they also gave up a lot of goals. And then they went up to the Sioux after that stretch, and they limited Sioux's chances. I held Sioux in 2 games to under 25 shots each game, and they won those games 5-3 and 5-4. They followed that up with a 5-1 win over Sarnia. So they may have sacrificed a little offensively, but they're playing a lot better defensively. And that's why I think they've really improved down the stretch. And what's really impressed me is the fact that they've won different ways.
And that's what championship teams have to do. And one of my viewers, Christian, who's from Windsor, said the same thing as you did too, the defense as well.
Yeah, Christian's a good guy. He knows what he's talking about. I see him at the WFCU Center all the time. Glad that he's able to join us.
Yeah, I wish I could go down to the game tomorrow night because right now I'm on midnights at my current job. But if I was off tomorrow night, I think I would have made the trip down to Windsor because I hear it's a nice facility, good fans, and it would have been a nice game to see in Windsor.
Well, there's going to be plenty of times that you can travel down in the playoffs.
Definitely.
And visit. WFCU is a top 5 rink in the Ontario Hockey League, and I'd love to see the fans come out in droves over the playoffs and pack the WFCU Center. Spitfires are asking fans to wear red during the playoff run. So, Chris, make sure you wear red when you visit the WFCU Center. How's that?
Still, hey, I was going to say, and I started my camera work with Rogers a couple years ago, and I never even got to do a playoff game because the league got shut down. So I told my producer, I said, I'm going to be a rookie cameraman this year because I've not done a OHL playoff game yet as a camera operator. So I'm looking forward to doing the playoff games with Rogers TV.
And if Guelph wins any playoff games, make sure you get some credit, okay?
Nah, it's okay. Sometimes I call the scores before the games, and guys are like, "Wow!" And I love being around the arena, the players, and especially Tony Sexton. I talk to him all the time, and I get all my information from him in person or on Twitter as well. So he's a really good guy too, Tony.
Yeah, Tony's a fantastic guy. He's one of the veterans in the Ontario Hockey League, so he's always a great guy. Tell him I said hi.
Okay, definitely. Hey, and if you were closer, I have 2 tickets to the game Friday night. It's Rogers TV night here, but unfortunately, I will be working, so I'm gonna see if I can find somebody that wants to go to the game Friday night at the Sleeman Center.
Well, I'm sure you can find a few fans. I'll be in Detroit. I'm watching the Tigers home opener on Friday. So
against the Chicago White Sox. Is that a daytime or a nighttime game?
It's a 1:05 first pitch.
Wow. And I was gonna say I'm hoping to get down there for Lou Whitaker's jersey retirement ceremony, August 6th. That's the game I want to go to the most.
I've got my tickets already, so it should be a fun day.
Yeah, and I have another guy coming on from Windsor tomorrow, Mike K-Cut from CKLW 800. He's going to come on, and we're going to do a Detroit Tigers podcast tomorrow afternoon.
Well, Mike K-Cook is one of the biggest Tigers fans I know next to me.
Yeah.
So he's fantastic. Tell him I said hi and ask him if he's going to lead the parade with me when we get to the playoffs.
Definitely. I think the Tigers could compete for a wild card. I guess we'll see. I'm hoping. Last year they won 77 games in really a rebuilding season. AJ Hinch did a fantastic job. So I'm hoping this year maybe 85 wins. 85 wins.
Easy. 85 is a bit high, but we'll wait and see. I hope you're right, Chris. I hope you're right.
And what I was going to say, I know Chicago, they're going to be to me, Chicago's still the team to beat in the AL Central. The White Sox.
I don't think it's even close. I think they have the easiest path to a division championship out of the entire Major League Baseball. Lucas Giolito, who we will see on Friday, he's a premier pitcher, premier starting pitcher. Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, he's fantastic.
Definitely. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. And I finally got my, what's that CAN app now when you go across the border? Arrive Camp. So I've got that all filled in and ready to go. And I'm hoping to be in the States by the end of April for a National Lacrosse League game. I'm looking forward to seeing the Buffalo Bandits. I'm hooked on lacrosse now. I had a taste of it last week with the Toronto Rock.
Oh, lacrosse is a fantastic sport. I've seen a few dozen games back from junior B to senior B in Owen Sound, and of course the National Lacrosse League as well. It's a great sport. Great sport.
Definitely. And I'm hoping Detroit gets a National Lacrosse League team to go with Little Caesars Arena in the future.
You never know.
I think it would be great because you got the Pistons and the Red Wings there, and then it would give them more dates for that building. Not that the building's probably not getting full now anyways.
That'd be great. More sports options for fans down here. I'm sure they would love it.
Definitely. Okay, I just got a couple more Spitfire questions for you, Manny. One I wanted to ask you, what was a turning point for the Spitfires this season where you noticed they were starting to gel offensively, defensively, and the goaltending was solid?
You know what? I don't think there was one point in the season. I think, it took some time with the new coaching staff, like I mentioned earlier, for this team to gel, for Mark Savard to find the right lines, for Bill Bowler to make the right additions, the right players that he brought into the lineup here. And then they gelled. If there was one single point, I would say, the beginning of December really is when this team started to click. But I don't think there was really a huge turning point in this season for the team.
Okay. And my next question I was going to ask you, we already talked about it a little bit, but overall assessment of the Spitfires goaltending in Nishka, Medina, and I guess Kyle Downey has played 11 games with the Spitfires so far this year.
Yeah, Kyle Downey is a draft pick of the Windsor Spitfires. Matt Tuvel has also played in 8 games, so there have been 4 different goaltenders who have played for the Windsor Spitfires this season. When at the beginning of the season, when Medina was injured, Kyle Downey and Matt Tuvel shared the crease, and there seemed to be some doubt about whether Windsor would have the goaltending to get going. But at the beginning of January, Bill Bowler made the move to get Matt Onishka. He's been fantastic. Xavier Medina is a very quality number 1 starter in the Ontario Hockey League as well. So I would say that while there was some doubt early on in the season, Onishka and Medina have been steady now in goal for Windsor. You need good goaltending to win in the playoffs. Windsor will only go as far as their goaltending takes them. So Medina and Onishka will feel some pressure, but I think they're up to the task. So far, the evidence says they are. They've been fantastic, riding a 10-game win streak.
And like you mentioned too, you could have all the firepower and all the star players you want, but in the playoffs, you definitely have to have that goaltending. And the 19 Storm team, they had a lot of talent, obviously, but nobody talks about Anthony Popovich, and he was solid for Guelph in that OHL championship round in 2019.
2019?
Yes. That was 3 years ago.
So, so that was the 18-19.
18, yeah.
Yes,
and that's
season.
The Guelph Storm are still the defending OHL champions, by the way. Yes. That's not the way they wanted to be the defending OHL champions by being shut down for a year and a half. But like I said, I don't think he got enough credit, and he was solid. And like I said, to me, they had all the talent, but you have to have the goaltending in the playoffs, obviously.
He did his job. He didn't cost them anything when you have players like Nick Suzuki and Isaac Radcliffe, who performed at another level in the playoffs. Sean Dursey was there too as well. When they performed at another level in the playoffs, as long as the goaltending didn't cost you the game, I think you're well on your way.
It was just a shame Nico Dawes never got a chance to have a playoff run with the Guelph Storm because he was the goaltender of the year before they had to shut down in 2020 season. And it's just a shame. I'm not saying Guelph would have gone far in the playoffs, but Nico Dawes that year was outstanding. And it's just a shame he never got an opportunity with the playoffs. But now I'm happy seeing him in the NHL with the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, he had a tremendous late career in the Ontario Hockey League. He really blossomed into a very good goaltender late in his career in the OHL.
Definitely. And Christian was just saying the same thing as you, as Onishkin has been a rock. So that was a very good trade by the Spitfires.
A fantastic trade.
Okay. Are you still good for a few more minutes, Manny?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, no problem. just quick thoughts on your next two games against the Guelph Storm, and what can the Storm fans like myself and everyone watching can look for from the Spitfires these next two games?
Well, I think obviously it starts with the offense. If Guelph, even if you just want to go to the game and see good hockey, just watch Wyatt Johnston. He plays full length of the ice, offensively, defensively. He can strip the puck, win battles along the boards. And oh, yeah, he leads the league in points. He's had a tremendous season that way. First round pick of the Dallas Stars. He's just a lot of fun to watch. 43 goals, 119 points. Fantastic. Don't leave Will Cooley open. If you see Will Cooley open, if he gets the puck, it's in the back of the net. And Matthew Maggio's got some speed. He's got some skill. Watch for him. But don't forget about the other guys. Ryan Abraham centering that line with Maggio and Daniel D'Amico, an overage forward who's playing very well. He has 27 goals. He's knocking on the door of 30. Pasquale Zito hits hard. If you're keeping an eye out for him, because he'll run somebody over, whether it's at the WFCU Center or the Sleeman Center. From the back end, Andrew Parrott, Luca Heno, they have been fantastic. They produce offensively, make great first passes. And the Spitfires like to play a fast game and a hard checking game. They can play any which way you want. You want to play physical, Spitfires can match you. If you want to play a speed game and a skill game, the Spitfires can match you. So if you're a Guelph Storm fan watching this right now, just take a look at how Windsor plays, and they can play any which way you want.
I suspect the Storm are going to have probably McFarland and Walker and Jake Carabella, Guelph native on the top line. That's the one guy I want you guys to look out for is Jake Carabella, Guelph native. He was in the top prospects game too. The Storm actually had 4 guys in the top prospects game this year. That was Zilkinen, Carabella, Portress, and the rookie defenseman Michael Bersheringer. He has 4 goals, 38 assists, and 42 points. And obviously Cam Allen, the 16-year-old Cam Allen, he's tremendous for a 16-year-old kid. 37 points as a 16-year-old kid in the Ontario Hockey League. So that's another guy to look out for tomorrow night and Friday is Cam Allen.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for them.
Definitely. So, and I was going to say, last question I wanted to ask you, and I was going to ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Yes or no? Are the Spitfires right now a Memorial Cup contender? And quick thoughts on the Hamilton Bulldogs in the Eastern Conference. Obviously, we haven't seen them play the West this year, but just overall thoughts on that question.
Are the Windsor Spitfires a Memorial Cup contender? Yes. In my mind, right now, they're the best team in the Western Conference. Because of the way the season has gone in the Ontario Hockey League, we don't get to see the Eastern Conference. So we won't see the Hamilton Bulldogs until the OHL final, if that's the case, if it's a Spitfires Bulldogs matchup. I think Hamilton is the best team in the East. Some people in North Bay may feel differently about that. Some people in Kingston with Shane Wright may feel differently about that. But I think Hamilton is tops in the East, and I think the Bulldogs have an inside track to head to the OHL final. Only one team will represent the OHL at the Memorial Cup. If it is the Spitfires and the Bulldogs who meet in the OHL final, I think that's going to be a fantastic series and one that every OHL fan should watch.
And if that's the series, I'm definitely going to be going down to Hamilton, the First Ontario Center, for a couple of games of those.
If they let you in the building. I heard you've got a bad rap in that building. So.
I was there Saturday night for the Rock game. I'll tell you, that building is not bad when they have 8,500 fans in there. So if the Bulldogs can draw even close to 8,500 fans, it is a good environment in that arena when there's people in there.
Chris, they didn't kick you out? Did they not know who you were?
No.
Unbelievable. You snuck in and stayed for the whole game.
Yes,
I'm surprised.
And my friend Pat Gregor, he's a TSN analyst for the National Lacrosse League Game of the Week. So I got to see him after the game and I'm doing live interviews now with people. So to get me more experience, I figure that's great to do 2, 3, 4, 5-minute interviews with guys and do it on the fly without having like sheets or anything with me.
That's great. Good for you, Chris.
So everything's going well with Rogers, and I'm with the National Basketball League of Canada as well. I get to interview or speak with coaches and players after the games on Zoom as well, which is a great opportunity for me.
That's fantastic. Good for you.
Thank you. So, and I've been very lucky to get guests like you guys and Mike from CKL and Aaron Sanders, the voice of the Windsor Express, and Steve Bell. I almost feel like I know almost a lot of people in Windsor now.
Hey, you've just mentioned every single person that you need to know in Windsor. So
Definitely.
yeah.
And I was going to say, quick thoughts on the OHL with the Niagara Ice Dogs. Just
Yeah,
quick thoughts on that.
interesting story. So Billy Burke and Joey Burke have been suspended indefinitely, and the organization has been fined $150,000 as the OHL investigated a conversation that took place in a WhatsApp messaging group. We don't know what was in that conversation. At least it's not being released publicly, although some people do know what was said in that group chat. But obviously, there was a form of harassment in that chat, and the league has been adamant with a zero tolerance policy with regards to any language whatsoever that could be deemed harassment, that violates the league's harassment and abuse and diversity policy. There is no place in the OHL, there's really no place in our society for any of those conversations to take place. The league came out with a statement and said that the conduct runs counter to the OHL's onside program, which emphasizes the importance of demonstrating respect for women through actions and words. So if you can read between the lines, there was obviously a violation on that part, and there is no place in the OHL for that. And the league is correct to come down hard. I know the Burks have an opportunity to appeal their suspension, as they are not eligible to return until June 1st, 2024. That is a significant period of time for the Burks to be away from the Niagara Ice Dogs organization. I suspect that they will appeal, but I'm glad to see that the OHL has come down hard with a punishment, a severe punishment, because there should be a zero tolerance policy with regards to it.
Absolutely agree with you, and they just had the situation with the Flint Firebirds too recently, and then in the last few years as well. So I agree with whatever you said there, Manny, about zero tolerance for any of that stuff.
Yeah, there's no place, as I mentioned, there's no place in the game for it. There's no place in society for it.
Definitely. And before I let you go, Manny, I was going to say, so you're going to the home opener for the Tigers Friday. Where are your seats for that game?
The seats are section 200. So we're in the outfield, not close to the fence line or anything like that. But I like sitting up higher, catching the whole field. It'll just be fantastic to be in the ballpark again.
And how do you feel the Tigers will do this season?
I think the over-under says 77.5 wins on the season. I took the over. I think they won 77 games last year, and I think they're a better team than they were last year. I'm really looking forward to seeing Spencer Torkelson, the rookie sensation for the Tigers. It's unfortunate that Riley Green is hurt, but I look forward to seeing him when he returns to the lineup sometime in June. I think the future looks bright for the Tigers organization.
I agree with you. With Riley Green, I guess he had the fractured foot, and they say normally 6 to 8 weeks. So I think you were right about maybe June he could be back by.
Yeah, I think they're going to take it easy with him. 6 to 8 weeks will basically put him in May, but I think they're going to wait till June before he returns.
Okay. Last question, and I'll let you go. Manny, who's the starting pitcher? Is it Erod? Is it Rodriguez starting on Friday?
It is Erod. So he gets the ball on Friday, and it'll be his debut in a Tigers uniform.
Wow, I'm really looking forward to that, and then we'll get the Storm game Friday night against Windsor. So it's going to be a busy sports weekend for all of us.
That's great. We got the Masters on this weekend too. Watch Tiger. Maybe he'll make the cut. Definitely Spitfires have a lot of hockey this weekend. Definitely will be a sports weekend.
Who are you guys playing out other than Guelph, like Thursday, Friday Guelph, and then are you guys playing Saturday or Sunday too?
So this is the final home game of the regular season for the Windsor Spitfires against the Guelph Storm. They return to Guelph on Friday, and then on Saturday they'll be in Saginaw. And then next week, Windsor will play in Erie, and then they'll end the regular season in Guelph, April 16th.
And I'll be at that game too, so Steve Bell is going to get sick of seeing me.
That's okay. You give Beller a hard time.
I hope you can maybe watch some of the broadcasts from Windsor.
I'll have to check my plans for that Saturday night.
We have a good crew with Ryan Drury and Steve Fitzsimmons and Trevor Pryor as the host, and Neil White does a really good job, and it's a good crew.
Yeah, I know Steve and Trevor very well. You can tell them I said hi. And if I can, I'll tune into the broadcast.
Okay. And where can my audience find you again on social media again?
Yeah, you can find me at Paiva the Way. That is my personal Twitter feed. You can also follow me and my friends Matt and John on our podcast For Future Considerations, Podcast FFC on Twitter and Instagram, For Future Considerations on Facebook. We just released an episode this week where we give our predictions for the upcoming baseball season. We're on the Blue Jays bandwagon. We're on the Tigers bandwagon. And we'll see where it goes.
I'm just glad I'm going to be able to go cross the border again and go see some Major League Baseball games and Buffalo Bison games in Buffalo, because it's been 3 years since I've been to a baseball game.
Yeah, it's been since the summer of 2019 since I've been to a baseball game. So looking forward to that.
Okay, well, enjoy the game on Friday, Manny. And I was going to say, hopefully I can have you back on again in the future. And maybe next time, maybe talk a little bit about the bridge, how things are going with that, maybe.
Sounds good. Chris, thank you again for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Manny. And podcast is only as good as his guests are. And I'm very lucky.
Well, it's a privilege to be on the show with you, Chris.
Thanks a lot, Manny. And enjoy the game tomorrow night. And I'll be watching the game.
Great. Thanks,
you. Thanks, Manny. Have a good night. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my guest tonight with Manny Paiva. He's a communications officer for the Gordie Howe International Bridge, and he's also a longtime OHL broadcaster and with the Windsor Spitfires right now with Steve Bell on CKLW 800 in Windsor. And they'll be doing the game tomorrow night at the WFCU Center in Windsor, and then Friday night at the Sleeman Center at 7:30 against those Guelph Storm. Just bear with me, guys. I'm going to put a little video clip of Will Cooley, who's one of the top prospects in the OHL and having a tremendous year for the Windsor Spitfires.
I'm Will Cooley. I play for the Windsor Spitfires. I'm a left winger, and I'm from Toronto.
I think Will Cooley is one of those guys that scouts are going to say, I don't want to miss that big body guy who skates so well.
Cooley's really found his niche, it seems, with that power forward that can put up points. Every team's looking for that. So could Cooley be a Tom Wilson type?
And I think for Will Cooley, when I look at him, the physical game, he's everything else.
Jumping his step. Here comes Jean-Luc again. Centering pass. Cooley scores! Well, these guys are having some fun this afternoon. Guess who threw that big hit? Will Cooley. Sauces one rink wide for Heno. Sauces one back to Cooley. Scores! What a shot! 6-3 Spitfires. Each side of center. Hits it to Will Cooley. He's got an opening too, and he scores! Will Cooley brings Windsor to within one.
Will Cooley was drafted 3rd overall in the 2018 OHL priority selection from the Toronto Marlboros.
Peterborough Pete's are very pleased to select with our first-round pick from the Toronto Marlies, William Cooley.
Not long before the start of his rookie season, Cooley was traded from Peterborough to Windsor and made an instant impact for the Spitfires, scoring 26 goals in his rookie campaign. His energy and physicality stands out, but the young man likes to keep things calm away from the rink.
I think I'm a pretty calm guy. A lot of times on the ice, I like to get fired up, and my style of game is pretty physical, pretty energetic. But I think away from the arena, I just like to relax, have a good time, and sit back, enjoy it.
A pretty calm guy with a pretty calm coach. Trevor Letowski's easygoing style has really developed and sharpened Will's skills in Windsor, and he's appreciative of his time learning from the former NHLer.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, he's a pretty calm guy, easy to talk to. I think the sort of one-on-one coaching style that he has has definitely helped our team out well, and really elevated a lot of people's games on our team, and which has helped us out.
His 6'3", 200-pound frame makes Will a prototypical power forward with an exceptional shot, which he utilizes from the soft spots he finds inside the offensive zone. As a winger, he can disrupt the opponent well in transition, using both his stick and his body.
I think physical power forward, like getting on the forecheck, throwing the body a bit, separating the guy from the puck. And I think using my shot in and around the net, I think I got an excellent release and good accuracy. I think when I use my shot well and get it through, it's definitely a good weapon to have.
He's committed to being a power forward in the National Hockey League. While he watches a lot of former OHL stars like Tom Wilson and Matthew Tkachuk, he models his game after Dallas Stars captain Jamie Benn. Like Jamie, Will played hockey in the winter and baseball in the summer, and sees a lot of things in Benn's game he'd like to emulate in his own.
I like to compare my game to Jamie Benn, physical power forward. Obviously, he's a big guy. He's got a heavy shot and pretty skilled as well. And he stands up for his teammates, which I love to see. So I like to compare myself to him.
Coming into his sophomore season, Will set out to improve his skating, something he feels he had room to improve on, and now he's happy to where his stride is at.
I think my skating and acceleration is something I've definitely tried to improve a lot. I worked on it a lot in the summer, and I think it's come a long way. And I think I still got a lot of room for it to grow, and I think that's something that can really elevate my game to the next level.
In Windsor, his locker is directly beside Jean-Luc Foudy, another highly rated draft-eligible prospect who Will gets to go through the entire experience with.
Yeah, obviously it's really cool being able to experience it with him. It's pretty fun, and it's a pretty cool experience to be here with him and play against him.
Will Cooley is excited for the next steps in his professional development, and he can't wait until he's selected by an NHL franchise in early October.
Being a pro away from the arena, I think that's something that's really important, and not only in hockey but in life, and just being a good person away from the arena and carrying yourself well. I think just continuing to develop my game, obviously personally just continuing to develop my game, getting faster, stronger, and putting lots of pucks in the net.
Anyways, that clip was courtesy of the Ontario Hockey League's YouTube channel. And Will Cooley is one of the big three with the Windsor Spitfires. Wyatt Johnson, Matthew Maggio, and Will Cooley. And the Guelph Storm have their work cut out for them tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at the WFCU Center in Windsor. And then Friday night, 7:30 at the Sleeman Center against those first-place Windsor Spitfires. And they've won 10 straight games. And as Manny was saying, they've won 13 straight at home at the WCU Center and have only lost one home game in Windsor since December. So I'm hoping the Storm can get at least 1 point tomorrow night, maybe sneak two, but we'll see what happens. So tomorrow night's game's at 7 o'clock in Windsor, and then Friday night 7:30 at the Sleeman Center, and then the Storm take on the London Knights this Sunday at 2 o'clock at Budweiser Gardens as well. Guys, just before I let you go, the next Live with CDP podcast is going to be tomorrow, Thursday, April 7th at 3 p.m. My guest is going to be his second appearance, Mike Kaycutt, the co-host of the Morning Drive on CKLW 800 in Windsor. Mike's a huge sports fan like myself, loves the Tigers. So Mike and me are going to come on and we're going to talk about the Detroit Tigers, the 2021 Tigers team that won 77 games under AJ Hinch, and what our expectations or his is of this 2022 Detroit Tigers team as well. And I'm curious to see if Mike's going to the home opener on Friday as Manny is going. So I'm just looking forward to going across the border this summer and seeing a Tigers game at Comerica Park for the first time since 2018, 2019 as well. And I just want to say thank you to everybody watching this on YouTube. Please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you to everyone watching on Facebook and Twitter. And also, guys, just to let you know, let's see. Live with CDP podcast, the audio version is downloaded to Google Podcasts, Anchor FM, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Spotify, Castbox, and LinkedIn as well. And you guys can check me out on TikTok at Live with CDP. I just did an interview with Pat Gregor from the TSN, National Lacrosse League Game of the Week. He did a nice 3-minute interview with me there if you want to check that out as well. And like I said, guys, I'm really looking forward to my podcast tomorrow. And again, if you guys want to check out Manny, you can follow him at Paiva the Way. And you can also check out CKLW, iHeartRadio.ca/AM800. And also you guys can check out the Windsor Spitfires website, windsorspitfires.com as well. And that's pretty well it. I'm just going to read some more comments before I go. Christian, thank you so much for watching. Best of luck to you guys and have a safe drive. Thank you so much, Christian, for watching and appreciate it. And enjoy your time at the game. I obviously won't be at the Tigers games this weekend, but I will be at the Storm Spitfires game Friday night working with Rogers TV. So, Christian, thank you for watching my podcast tonight with Manny. And this was season 3, episode 24. So, hard to believe. All right. Anyways, guys, I hope everybody has a great night. And thank you again for watching Live with CDP and listening to it on audio. And if you have any comments or questions, please email me at cpame19@gmail.com or send me a DM on my Twitter account, Facebook, or Instagram as well. So I'm really looking forward to my next podcast tomorrow, season 3, episode 25, with Mike K-Cut from CKLW 800 in Windsor, co-host of the morning show. And we're going to talk on our podcast show together about the 2022 Detroit Tigers and how we think this team's going to do this year. So, all right. And let's see, I got one more comment before I go. Christian, no problem. Again, thank you so much, Christian. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to have to come up to Windsor sometime for a Spitfire game and a Windsor Express game as well. So, all right, guys, have a great night. And we'll see you guys all tomorrow at 3 o'clock with Mike K-Cut from CKLW 800 in Windsor. And it's going to be a Detroit Tiger podcast show tomorrow. So again, I want to say thank you to my guest, Manny Paiva, for coming on for a second time. And I'm looking forward to the Spitfires and Storm the next 2 nights in Windsor and Guelph. All right, guys, have a great night. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at 3 o'clock with Mike.